Hey y'all, I'm Little Flix and welcome back to my Buffy Rewatch series. So this is the second episode that I'll be reacting to for my Buffy Rewatch series part, which I've already said, so I'll just move on now. As I said in the previous video, if you haven't watched it, I'll put the link in the description if I remember, and sorry if I don't, but it will be on my channel for sure, is that I am reacting to the top rated episodes via IMDb. This is the second episode that is 9.4. I said in the last video that 4 episodes were rated that, but I don't know why I miscounted and there's actually 6. So this is the second one. I'm really excited actually because I thought Graduation Day Part 2 was next, and I recently just kind of rewatched that with a friend. So I wasn't dreading it. I just was wanting to watch something else instead, and I'm really glad that Fool for Love came first because it is such a good episode. It's episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and episode 7 is always a very big impacting episode. And of course, for those of you who don't know, I am a fan of Spike. I always loved Spike, and I think that's where my bad boy obsession kind of came from. So thank you for that, Joss Whedon. But yeah, I'm not going to say anything, but everyone knows in season 6 the incident I'm referring to. That made me feel a bit, put me through the bender a little bit when I first watched this from start to finish. But Spike is still a very interesting character to me, and this is obviously an episode that goes hand in hand with Angel one, but we're not doing Angel, we're doing Buffy. So let's just get started. He's known as brilliant and bloody because he's bloody awful poetry. Everyone, I think, thought season 4 was crap. I really like season 4. Obviously, there's some things in it, but there's so many good episodes. It's actually probably my second favorite. I actually really didn't like season 5 as a whole because of Dawn for a while, but it's actually really grown on me and it's pretty fantastic. That would really hurt. Oh! 1, 2, 3, 4! Go away! Boo, Riley! I will admit though, the more the older I'm kind of getting, the more I understand Riley's perspective in a sense, because I've been in a relationship when I felt like I was alone, but some stuff I'm like, Riley, shut up. He was good for her in season 4, I thought, but not in 5. He just couldn't handle it.
I can't believe I passed out. I think I'm a total wuss now.
Oh, yeah.
I really hate her top. I've never liked this top. The early 2000s, what was going on with the fashion? Every time I watch it, I hate this top. It's so bad. And why? I hate it.
No, he was the regular kind. He just beat me.
I think that's kind of big of her to
In the best physical shape of my life.
admit that,
Asking how it happened.
because we all know Buffy has a superiority complex kind of thing.
Tomorrow planning on being obnoxious.
Glad to hear it.
Oh, Joyce.
If you for a minute, I'd admit.
I don't know how other people feel about Dawn, but
If I show you something you promised
she
me.
had okay moments in season 6, but still was really annoying. But I really liked her in season 7 because she was, obviously a bit more mature and she was growing up and stuff. And yeah, it was, I believe it was Passion of the Nerd and After Show Reactions. They did a conjoint rewatch of this episode. And they were talking about, as well as Mark Field in his book that I did read that's always mentioned in Passion Nerds videos, which is a really interesting read if you like Buffy. I would do it. Is that she was made by men who thought this is how a 14-year-old girl would react. And it kind of was when you look at it in that perspective of the show's lore, it makes so much sense why she's so annoying and super like this. And that kind of made me have a whole new perspective on Dawn, but not enough for me to like her still in these first 2 seasons. And cue Spike!
Wait, not now. Anything I'm not saying, this stuff usually hurts.
You're gonna show me how.
I always love the Spike-centric episodes, pretty much.
You want to learn all about how I bested the Slayers, and you want to learn fast. Right then. We fought, I won, the end. Pay up.
That's not
What did you want, eh? I told you. No one's narrating on an empty stomach here.
You're such a
Were you
pest.
born this big a pain in the ass?
And what can I tell you, baby? I've always been bad.
I really like the fact that his accent's so like proper and gentlemanly as opposed to
It's a perfectly perfect word as
Cockney. I'm not sure if that's a Cockney accent actually, so sorry if I offended any English people. But regardless, I like that little detail. And it took me a long time to know that that was Helga. That's not Helga. Hallie. And that little scene in season 6 was like so funny once I realized. Hello, Cersei.
Placing my energies into creating.
What assholes. I reckon he probably went back and slaughtered them all eventually.
Written about me, are they?
They're about how I feel.
He's so tender as a human, like, I know he's considered like weak in that society and stuff, but he's always been a love-struck fool, but what's wrong with him?
If they're not good, they're only word.
You're beneath me.
You're beneath me.
I love the little thing, is that he bumps into Angel right there, and that's Drusilla, and then that is Darla. It's like a nice little hidden detail that you might not notice the first few times you watch it, or if you didn't watch the episode of Angel.
Something glowing and glistening. Something
The shadows across her face also is really cool,
effulgent.
and she just used effulgent. It's like a nice little like tie-in with her abilities as well. I like how much he was a bit of a wuss when it came to pain, when he was a human. I like that zoom in kind of track shot into Buffy.
a gang. Perhaps it's my advancing years that makes me so forgetful, William.
I know in the latest scene in the Boxer Rebellion, which I didn't know for a long time because I didn't watch Angel, I know that's sold Angel, and that's why he wasn't really, like, didn't look so impressed when Drusilla told them that Spike killed Slayer. When was it? Was it 1986, the Boxer Rebellion? I never learned about that in school. Education system. So I'm not too sure, but I forget the year that Angel lost his soul. Oh, well, not lost his soul, sorry. Was given his soul when he was cursed. I forget the year. I'll have to double check because I want to know if he's sold here because he goes to stab Spike, but he doesn't. And I'm sure maybe one of you lovely people in the comments would be able to fact check that for me and let me know when this airs. But at this present time right now, I'm not too sure, but I think he might be sold and putting on a bit of an act. And that's another reason I think why he's so intense about not being found. Maybe. Or maybe he's just jealous.
All out fighting a mob. Back against the wall. Nothing but fist.
The scenes with Spike and Angel are also just very interesting because of their history, especially in Angel.
You can't keep this up forever.
Maybe he is still jealous here.
What's a Slayer? After that, I was obsessed.
Buffy's just like, get to the point.
Slayer was the subject of cold sweat and frightened whispers.
He's getting a little turned on, it sounds like there.
Good thing, too.
That's the thing with Spike. Sex and violence and romance and death is so closely linked for him. And that's probably also just being a vampire kind of thing, but it's also his personality. He's always been a hopeless romantic, which we just saw. But yeah, this episode is really evident that it's just like phew, the same thing for him pretty much. 1900. Well, no, he probably definitely wasn't jealous then.
Just like I pictured it. It's good for you.
See, this whole fighting, violence, sex, same thing. But that is not just Spike, that's like a lot of vampire literature. That's the whole thing. That the predators, and it's very sexual, and the exchanging of fluids. I like this move that he does. This one right here. That's really cool. And I like the fact that he bit her pretty quickly. It wasn't just like a whole like like lead up thing.
I feel like I get used to this.
I'm pretty sure Angelus never killed a Slayer, so that's all I'm saying. It's interesting because this lighting, obviously there's fire and stuff going on, but it's red and everything. It's interesting because red symbolizes like blood as well as like romance and love, but it also is like pain and betrayal and like death and fighting and stuff. So it's really interesting how the lighting works for both things in this scene. So this scene was really interesting when I watched Angel only last year to realize that this is the scene where he actually has his soul. And his face here makes much more sense, and Darla looking at him. At first, when I first watched it, I just read it that the fact that Angel was, well, Angelus, but yeah, he just didn't like Spike that much, and he wasn't like really that pleased that he killed a Slayer in a sense, because he was being like, you know, obvious and violent still because of the last scene we saw in 1880. And that's how I read it the first time. But if Darla's face right now, it's really interesting with Angel. And I never knew that. And also, this scene was just like, ooh yeah, with the fire in the background and the slow motion and like, yeah, I'm Spike. Oh, the wind. Yeah, you smolder, honey. This is when Riley starts to really get on my nerves. He thinks he's invincible. Danger man. That's what he's looking for. Like Xander says, I don't know what kind of action you're looking for, do you? 100% agree, Xander. For once, you're right there.
Give it to me.
Even her, what she says, give it to me, is very innuendo.
Ask the right questions.
This whole sequence here, I love.
There's a big difference, love.
Part of you wants it. Not only to stop the fear and uncertainty, but because you're just a little bit...
Wants what, Spike? What's interesting is that Spike understands the darkness in her that she does not yet. And he can see that. And I still don't know how he gets on top, but whatever. This part.
You make it with your hand.
That part. It's a bit better later on, but I love it. It's
Part of you is
really
desperate
cool.
to know what's it like. Where does it lead you?
The land, she merely wanted it.
And that's like another very strong
Death wish.
innuendo. She wanted it.
Even
I
you.
don't agree with their Spike, but let's just stick it with the death metaphor. Metaphor? Analogy. It's interesting how he says, like, your mum ties you here, and obviously this is the season where she dies.
The second that happens,
That cut's awesome.
you know I'll be there.
I love how the camera works a bit shaky as well.
Have myself a...
Like, it's stabilizing to be like that shot there that it is now. It's really cool.
Get out of my sight, Spike. Now.
Yeah,
Why don't you leave?
Slayer. Do
You're so mean to him, Buffy. Come on. And that's a perfect example as why those emotions conflicts him in his mind about everything.
Slayer. You know you want to dance.
Say it's true. Say I
The music
do
here
want
is beautiful.
It wouldn't be you, Spike. You're beneath me.
I know a lot of people think that Spike's pathetic, and I get where they're coming from, but if you look at Angel and Spike in Buffy, letting Angel pass, Spike's a way more interesting character. Like, so much more.
Hey, I put together.
I tried making this house in The Sims.
Great, thanks.
It failed. It was The Sims 2, though. It's really hard for Buffy, obviously, because it's her mum, but it's something she can't actually fight and fix, which she's so used to doing. So she just feels even more helpless. It's interesting when Buffy breaks down because she's such a strong character. And I also love that Spike has been a part of the really big moments in Buffy's life. Like, he was there when she told her mum she was a Slayer. He was there to comfort her here about when she first found out something is wrong with her mum. It's just interesting how Spike's the character that she tells. There we go. So that was Full for Love from season 5. I'm not sure if these are going to be received well in these rewatches. I don't really know how to do it properly, like I said in the previous one as well. So hopefully some things I mentioned, I don't know. It's probably going to be more fun, I think, to have like a conversation with you lovely people in the conversations about, you know, your general feelings and thoughts on the episodes, as well as like the characters and the whole series as a whole. So that's probably what I think will be most enjoyable about it as well. That is a really good episode. It's one that I must admit, I do forget about though. I wouldn't say it's my top 3 favorites. It is really good though. I really love finding more about Spike's background story, as well as the whole reasons, at least to Spike, why he was able to defeat the Slayers, because they wanted to die. That was the first time that's introduced, and it's very important for this season. And it creates that whole duality thing within Buffy, because, you know, in this season, Glory represents her Slayer side, whereas Dawn represents her human side and her inner child kind of thing. And Buffy's always worried about becoming too hard and too strong, especially in midway point this season. She feels like she's losing the ability to love people, and that's exactly what Glory represents, all those qualities that Buffy hates about herself because she's the Slayer. And even with this whole conflicting feelings around death and things, as we know from the season finale, death is your gift. This season is just really interesting because it does deal with people's identity and them kind of going through a crisis at times. More characters come into mind than others. As well as people's personality and things like that. It's just really interesting, the overarching theme of this season. And obviously Full for Love has a very strong duality theme with Spike himself. And that's always really fun to see. And even Angel in this episode, in the context of the episode in Angel, you know, he's stuck between 2 personalities. And it's just really interesting. And like I said during the reaction, I'm not sure if I'll cut it out or not, but in case I didn't, I'll just quickly state it. When I first watched this season a couple times, the first few times, I didn't really like it that much. I was annoyed by the characters and stuff in it. Don't get me wrong, there's some really great episodes in it and ones that I love. But as I've gotten older and I realized what it was actually, you know, saying as a whole of a series, yeah, I see why people really like this season. Yeah, it's probably I would say, in terms of like the emotional effects that we have as well as plot, I think it works the best together. and it's probably the most well executed in that sense. But I didn't really like it at the start because I thought the whole key thing was really flimsy but it makes sense when you look at the fact that Dawn is representing, she's also a character herself, but she's also representing that side of Buffy. So yeah, that's just my quick little thoughts on that. Like I said, I think most of these rewatches will be so much more enjoyable when we get talking in the comments and things like that. So without further ado, I will leave you guys here. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe so you can keep up to date with future releases of reactions, as well as future Buffy rewatches. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next reaction. Bye!